Welcome to the Black in Motion podcast, powered by Rise Free Media, with your host, Braxton Simpson. What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Braxton Simpson, and we're back for another episode of the Black in Motion podcast, and we are here with none other than
Josiah Russell.
So excited to have you here, y'all. Josiah, he is the truth. All right. And y'all will see like some behind the scenes and all the things you have to make sure you follow the Instagram page, because you might just catch me singing with the singer over here. Yeah. Okay, Josiah, well, just hop in and tell everybody about who you are, what you do, and we'll get into some of the questions for today.
Absolutely. Well, what's going on, everybody? My name is Josiah Russell. I am 23 years old. I'm from Statesville, North Carolina. I graduated from North Carolina Central University in 2023.
Eagle Pride.
Eagle Pride Amplified. You already know what it is. And I am an entertainer. So I sing, I host primarily college football games right now. But, the goal is, entertainment at large. And so that's a little bit about me and who I am. Right?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So before we hop in, let's talk about how I was even introduced to you in the first place.
Right.
I saw you on Instagram. Yeah.
Okay.
Singing.
Okay.
Singing.
As always.
Yeah. So where does that, how did that start? Did you start in the church? Did you start as a young boy? I just want to know. I want the tea on that.
So like a lot of singers, you know what I mean? We start in church, and I actually sang in church my first solo when I was like 3, I think. It was Heaven by Mary Mary.
Okay.
I gotta get myself together, 'cause I got that place.
Yeah.
So I loved Mary Mary growing up, and so I stuck with the gospel route, even now. So I haven't stopped since then.
Yeah.
So.
And it's carried you into many phases of your life too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I know I was introduced you through your collegiate experience. You're Mr. North Carolina Central.
Mm-hmm.
You also had the opportunity to be, what was it, first runner-up in
Yes.
Mr. HBCU competition?
Yes.
And you sang your heart out there too. So it's carried you through different phases of life, and I'm sure has brought so many opportunities toward you from the gift that God gave you.
Absolutely.
So how's that been?
And I'm so grateful. Like you mentioned at the end, I above all else am a believer of Christ, believer of Jesus Christ. And literally, I was just talking to somebody the other day, nothing that God has blessed me with up to this point is anything that I can explain.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't things that just dropped out of the sky per se.
Yeah.
But they are things that I could not have imagined that would actually be real right now. You know what I mean? And as far as when we talked about the HBCU thing, so I actually did a kind of a acting kind of singing thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mocked whenever I got the phone call about my father whenever he passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of redid that, almost like a Tyler Perry thing, kind of relived that experience. And so it was something, but it's been a beautiful experience this far.
Yeah, I love that. So we're gonna talk more about that.
Okay.
But I want to kick us off just talking about rebuilding and thriving post the 2024 election, and then also kind of taking it back to the pandemic, because we are kind of still living in that space. Yeah. So as someone who leads through creativity and entrepreneurship, how have you personally rebuilt or reimagined your path post pandemic and post election?
Post pandemic. So of course, I came to school in 2019. So freshman year was cut short.
Yeah.
And so in the pandemic, I was finding myself a lot. I actually, during the pandemic, that's when I lost 80 pounds during the pandemic, And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I used to be almost 300 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I had gotten up to a certain weight, and then, kind of somewhere in there, I realized I was just this is not what I want, anymore. And so I lost the weight then. So that was a way that I would definitely, let's say, reimagine myself.
Yeah.
In that period. Post-election, I'm still figuring that out.
As many of us are.
Transparently speaking, it's something. It is something, and all we can do is stay informed, stay educated,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So kind of continuing forward in that conversation, you are an HBCU alum.
Mhm.
And so how do you see HBCU alumni kind of stepping into leadership roles in this kind of next phase of our collective recovery as a people?
Mhm.
Yeah.
As far as like in like leadership roles across the country and
Yeah, I think that. And then also just in the HBCU space too, because I think we're seeing like attacks on education and DEI and a lot of different things that are impacting our Black students. So what do you think HBCU alumni, our role is in supporting students through this time period?
give back to your university. I know that the way things are right now aren't ideal, you know, with the economy and the job market. But whatever you can spare, give back to university, you know, because, you know, with funding and stuff being cut, I'm not really abreast on everything, every single detail, you know, what that entails.
Yeah.
But give back to university, speak life into students. You know, if you're in the area by your university, you know, be that person. Like if they, because sometimes, you know, like, you know how it is being an undergrad, you ain't, unless you working full time, you ain't got no money like that. You feel me? Like,
and like we're far away from home. I know, like I went to school in Tennessee, so my family was home in Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's the way that we can lead. We can lead students who are still at the universities by giving back, by being a resource. You know, like when you make it to a certain point, even before you get there, help somebody up. You know, if you were once in the intern position, you got hired full time, you know, see if there's another opportunity for another HBCU student. You know what I mean? And I think just pulling them up, you know, while the rest of the world is, you know, and while they're thinking like, dang, like, what is my future going to look like? Just be that light in the darkness for them, you know, and just encourage them.
I love that. And I'm sure that's what you all need, especially during pandemic time. Yeah. There's so much time that probably felt lost, huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I'll be looking back at my I'll be like, darn, we lost a year, basically. You feel me? And so
right when college started too.
Right when college started, I was excited. Like I was ready to go to school.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it robbed us of some experiences.
Time.
Yeah.
Things changed
drastically.
Yes. Right. So you wear a lot of hats. How do you balance the pressure of entrepreneurship, creativity, and just being a Black man in America?
Well, I'll say first off, I think that being an entrepreneur is like a trend now. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people believe that, you know, that is the route that everybody should take. And while it is a beautiful route, it's not easy. It is not, y'all hear me when I say it is not easy. And so
I can attest.
You can attest, you know what I mean? And so like you don't need to have it all figured out, because entrepreneurship itself is unsure. It's not like you get a direct deposit every 2 weeks, like, you know, a corporate job. And that being said, don't quit your corporate job right now. If like, you feel me? I ain't gonna say like, you need to have something to fund your entrepreneurship route. You know what I mean?
I'm all for it, because I'm working, but I'm also working and using what I'm working on to help fund my passion project, and with hopes that that'll take off in due time.
And that's a beautiful route, because I mean, shoot, like the 9-to-5 is not to be demonized. If anything, you save your money, put it into your business, so that one day that can be your full-time, you know, full-time, your job. But as far as like when it comes to balancing the pressure between being a creative and figuring out which route you want to take. For me, right now, I'm singing, I'm hosting, I'm doing videography, I'm doing voiceovers. And somebody sat me down here recently and they were like, listen, you're doing great, but what is your brand? Where is your focus? You know, like, because I've struggled with a lot, like when people are like, oh, they know me for singing, popped out on the hosting scene, and they were like, okay, so are you a singer? Are you a host? What are you hosting? Are you doing football? Are you a sports announcer now? Are you know, and then start doing videography. They're like, okay,
what do you do?
What do you do? Who are you? You know what I mean? And while it's good, multiple sources of income, you know, I would say balancing all is knowing what your brand is, knowing what to say no to, knowing your strong suits. Don't say yes to every single thing. You know, if you're trying to create a brand, everything doesn't align with your brand, and that's okay.
And let's talk through that a little bit, because you know, I know we talked a little bit offline about this, but just like you, when I was in college, was really heavily involved, and transitioning out of school was it was a big adjustment. So how have you managed the saying no to things when there was so much you had to do in undergrad that really caused you to have to say yes to a lot?
Yeah, required my yes for sure. And I like we were speaking, this has been a newfound mindset for me. This happened like 3 months ago. You know, and so it is something because I've been taking a hit on the financial side because I got, hey, can you do this video? Can you do that? You know, we want you to come here and sing. Come on, come here and sing. You know what I mean? And I've had to just say, you know, hey, you know, I'm not available to do that.
I need rest.
I need rest. And I took actually the whole month of May off.
Good for you.
For not for my corporate job, y'all. Look, we need to pay the bills. Listen, but I took a break from JRM. And because I need to reset, you know, I need to pour into myself. And so, absolutely, like it, whenever you gain something, most of the time you have to sacrifice something else, you know.
And I actually learned this in Bible study, but we're talking about, your yes being your yes and your no being your no. And essentially, sometimes when you say yes to somebody else and something that they want, even if it's not something that's going to benefit you or help get you to that next level, you're essentially saying no to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was like a really big realization for me, because that's something I struggle with, is knowing when to say no.
Yes, me too. Like, struggle with it still now. You know what I mean? Because I'm the type of person where I want to help everybody. I want to do everything.
I want to show up everywhere.
I want to show up in every single space. But you can't, you know, because you're one person. You can show up in multiple spaces, but you got to be strategic about what those are and how do those connect.
And when you show up, you want to show up as your best.
Right.
You want to be your best self. If you give yourself to everything, you might not necessarily be good at anything.
Exactly. You know what I mean? And there's a saying that goes with that. I don't know. I can't repeat it verbatim, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, you're right. You want to pour into yourself. You want to have that rest. And so it's important to know what to say no to. And here recently, I've learned, like, particularly like when I've scaled back on my video or when I'm doing any type of thing creative, I pray before. And it sounds mundane and it sounds like, okay, duh. But no, y'all, like, I don't know what you believe. I don't know what it is. I pray before and I say, Lord, I am insufficient. I need you to help me because you created everything. And the most creativity I can get and the closest I can be to being myself is if I'm in you. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's changed the game. It's changed the game. I ain't gonna lie. These last 3 months, it's changed the game.
Yes,
so
I love that. Dropping gems. Love that. So, as a vocalist and host, how do you use your voice, both literally and figuratively, to advocate for the Black community? You know, any singing experiences or story times or anything like that?
Absolutely. And, you know, I've just gotten to this whole, like, using my voice. That's a part of, like, making everything connect. Because I was like, okay, I sing and I host, I do. How does
people
that connect?
Listen to you? Like, that's the thing. Like, I know you sing and I know you host and I know you've, you know, done this and that, but like, you as a person, people are inspired by.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, people are inspired by you. So, and it's not just because you know how to sing. It's the person that you are. It's the light that you shine.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think sometimes when it's you, it's like connecting that dot. Because I would get that a lot of times too. Like, oh, you know, you do this and that. And that's what I would be focused on. But it's also like, yeah, but people are inspired about something that I'm doing or some gift that I've been given that I need to fully understand.
Yeah. You know, sometimes we don't fully understand it. But to answer your question, if we go like pivot a little bit, I run like corporately, like right now, my job, I work for a Black-owned bank as a marketing assistant. And so I'm in a position now to where I have like, I'm kind of like the bridge between our customers or requesters who are requesting like sponsorship dollars for like events that they need to impact the community. We're all about, we're community bank. So
Yeah. Love a black bank.
Yeah. M&F Bank, y'all go open an account. But so I'm in a position to where I have some sort of autonomy to say, look at this event and say, okay, it's impacting children, schools, at-risk youth.
Mm-hmm.
It's impacting those with people with disabilities or what have you. And so it's a blessing to be able to have those go past my desk, and I'll be in the position to say, hey, I really want to support this. Or for somebody that I know, I can say, hey man, like, we don't got $10,000 for you, but if you need some support in your event that you're putting on for a youth program or that you're putting on for at-risk youth, come to M&F Bank. I may not have it for you personally, but I can find a way.
See what we can do.
See what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And entrepreneurially, right now, I just got my first mentee.
Oh, nice.
So I didn't even think that I was ready for that because I got mentors myself, know. So, but I just want to help young Black men who are afraid to speak up about their story, who are afraid to tell you that they are emotional, who are afraid to tell you that, they have trauma in their past and they don't want to talk about it. And so I want to use my story to kind of set the precedent and free them from that kind of mindset. You know what I mean? As a Black man. So that's my goals coming up here.
I love it. And so what are some real ways that you've had to prioritize your mental well-being? And just kind of in the midst of growing as an individual, growing a brand, a business, and then also just being a former HBCU king.
Mental, man. So it's crazy. Like I say, like these things, this is perfect timing for the podcast because things like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, I was in this slump and I'm just like, Josiah, like, what is wrong?
What's going on?
What is going on?
Josiah post-grad depression.
You feel me? Like, good God. I'm like, well, you gotta get up. You gotta shake back. You feel me? Like, but I just had to separate myself for a small amount of time. I had to unpin the group chats. I had to limit my screen time, prioritize my time alone, prioritize my time with God, and speak well to myself. Because a lot of times, like, I just started telling myself, I realized that my love language is words of affirmation. And so I'm like, Josiah, you giving everybody these beautiful words, like these things that you are giving out to people, but you got to also be self-aware enough to understand how you're talking to yourself, how you best receive.
Kind to yourself.
You know what I mean? Because I would be dogging myself. I'm like, Joe, you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that. My subconscious, I'm not receiving that because that's not how I receive. I receive where like, hey, Joe, look, bro, I know it's difficult.
Right.
But you got this.
And that's how you have to talk to yourself.
You feel me?
We can be so harsh on ourselves.
Yeah.
But kind to everybody else but ourselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that was my story. And so like I had to speak like, the affirmations, making sure that it's okay. It letting you know that it's okay to take time by yourself. It's okay to separate yourself like for a little while, not isolate totally, but breathe. You know what I mean? Take time throughout the day. Don't just hop right on, social media as soon as you wake up in the morning. You're overstimulating yourself.
Intentional time.
You know what I mean? Being intentional with your time.
Hello.
See,
slow morning.
Right, y'all. She took it right.
Oh, slow morning.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Yeah. So we're going to take a shift.
Okay. We're
going to talk through the intersection of identity. So being young, Black, and male in today's America. So how has being in a Black Greek letter organization, Alpha Phi Alpha, influenced your approach to manhood, brotherhood, and impact?
So, that's a great question.
Fam.
Right? That's a great question. I'll say that a big part of being in the organization, my line brothers have a significant impact on my life. If I hadn't got connected to them, I probably wouldn't have learned. I would have learned it, but not in a way where I can experience it with them, and that's key. And so as a young man, it's just honestly, I would say the biggest thing that I took from that I have gleaned from the organization is to not take any steps backward. It's okay to rest, but just don't retreat.
Forward.
Yeah. Go forward. Don't retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing like so many people and so many young men like, who are in the organization and who are excelling, and just going as far it puts
So
fuel to the
inspiring.
fire. You know what I mean? Fuel to the fire. And so I talk a lot. Like, I know that organization is beyond your line brothers, but those people, those men, and in your case, the young ladies who you join the organization with are key to the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, in so many ways.
Right. And I'm grateful that I was connected to people who didn't compete with me, but they completed different parts of me, that they could add different things to my life. They're not just taking. They're resourceful in other areas as well. In the space, like with knowledge, or in like, he was mass comm and PR entertainment. One of my line brothers with business and consulting. Another one with consulting, and so it's amazing.
And I would say also, like, during hard times, because this has been like a hard time in the world right now, specifically for Black people in general. But I would say the way that like my sisters have come together, and just, and I'm talking about from an economic standpoint, and also from like social, from mental well-being, like knowing that you can lean on a specific group of women, not only to organize around something or like mobilize around something, but when things don't necessarily turn out the way that we wanted them to be able to lean on them for prayer, to be able to lean on them for love, to be able to lean on them for, hey, I need a job, I need guidance, I need connections.
Right.
There's so many roles that my sisters have played in my life, and that I'm grateful to be able to play in theirs as well. That is just unmatched. You can't really find anywhere else.
Right.
And it's like, it's crazy how it evolves over the years. Yeah. So you've represented Black excellence, like I said, in so many different ways. So how did your role, like in school, as a school king, and then also representing the organization when you were first runner-up to Mr. HBCU, how did that role help shape your view of leadership, masculinity, and identity?
Great question. You wrote these questions. She got it, y'all. Look, you're making me think. Look, I'm thinking. Look, can you read it one more time for me?
Yeah, no, you're good.
Right.
So just how did the role help shape your view of leadership, masculinity, and identity?
Leadership, masculinity,
I know it's been a little while.
And identity. Well, honestly, like with the whole HBCU king thing, I tell people all the time, if there was an actual role for that, it's almost like institutional advancement. Somewhere like business development. But like, that was one of the most fulfilling times of my life.
Yeah.
Not even because of the, take a picture, you got the sash crown.
That's cute, but yeah.
I was making people's day better. And I'm not saying it in a haughty way. I'm saying it, that's what I live to do. I had the platform, not for me to say, I was Mr. NCCU, I was Mr. HBCU first runner up. It was because the platform gave me access to people who were down, to people who needed encouragement, for people who needed to see, like, somebody that looked like you doesn't have to be classified as feminine to be a leader and be in that role. Because a lot of times you talk about pageantry, people automatically say, oh, well, they want
to put a label on you.
They want to put a label on you. And, so it's cool that, to be in that role and not conform and do it, the way that you do it. And so as far as my view on like masculinity, you can do all of that and still be a man, quote, or live up to whatever standards you deem to be, masculine. It was masculinity
and identity.
I would say that it propelled my not necessarily my identity, because a lot of times HBCU kings and queens, you can have an identity crisis
Yes.
if you're not careful.
And I think we see that happen a lot of times in people in student leadership. You know, you graduate and it's kind of like, okay, my identity has been wrapped up so much in this role. Who am I now?
You got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be careful that you do not allow the affirmations and the applause
Mm-hmm.
of the staff, the students,
Community.
the community, the other universities around you to deem how much value you put in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
because their silence is going to hit even harder.
Yeah.
And it's not the fact that there's, I got to watch my back, there's secret haters around me. Not
Yeah.
even like that. It's just the fact that life is like this.
Mm-hmm.
And if you allow this to be that governing or the gauge on your life as to where you're doing good, if you allow this to be like, okay, this, if they're doing this,
Then I'm doing good.
Great. Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the thing where I said that I had to affirm myself and say, listen, bro, you don't have to perform. You don't have to prove. You just have to be.
Mm-hmm.
Just be. And in your being, you know, you will attract everything that's supposed to be for you.
Right.
But in your conforming, you'll attract things that you, like that mask has kind of, you know, put on that facade. And so, you know, you definitely gotta know who you are
Mm-hmm.
before you get any type of HBCU position, job,
Anything.
title.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta know who you are, because you'll get wrapped in it if you're not careful.
Mm-hmm.
That transition is a beast.
Yes, that transition is a beast. It definitely is.
It's a beast because you're in a community, and if you're not careful, you'll think, oh, everybody knows me. Everybody knows me. No,
Mm-hmm.
NCCU knows you.
Mm-hmm.
When you step out of the four walls, you don't necessarily have all that protection that you did in the nest or at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
You
so
gotta find those tools.
You gotta find those tools.
And if you use those tools properly, you'll find that everything that your HBCU gave you is enough.
Right.
It's absolutely enough to get you anywhere you need to go and to propel you in life and all the things.
Absolutely.
But you have to know how to use it.
Absolutely. You definitely got to know how to use it. And I think the beautiful thing about HBCU, like I've built so many connections at Central.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even, Central was the reason, of course, you know, it sounds cliche, but when I was Mr. NCCU, with institutional advancement, they were the reason I got my first job in the first place.
Really?
They allowed me to meet the CEO of the bank, Jim Seals,
mm-hmm.
pitch, you know, give him my resume. And, you know, 2 months later, I get an email from the marketing manager, hey, you look like that you could be a great candidate for that. Had I not been in that position,
that opportunity might have passed you by.
It might not even exist.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
right.
So yeah.
Right time, right place.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
Yes, but like you said, knowing how to make that adjustment and just being self-aware enough to know, like, I gotta be rooted.
Yes.
I gotta be rooted and planted.
You gotta be rooted and planted. And you got to, like, it's like, again, I'm not assuming everybody has the same psychographic, believe the same thing, but you gotta be rooted in something. You gotta know who you are, and you gotta stand on that. You gotta stand on that. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, because if you don't stand on it, when that applause leave or when them storms come,
you're gonna be very shakeable.
I'm telling you, you're gonna be weary.
Yeah.
I'm telling you so.
Yeah. No, that's good. So let's talk about community.
Okay.
Community and culture, preserving and evolving the Black identity. So you're literally creating culture through your multimedia company. And I want to hear a little bit more about that and what you do. But what stories are most urgent for us to tell right now? Or what stories are you kind of prioritizing?
I am prioritizing within the Black community, I'll say. Prioritizing the story that we are still relevant. And that just because, like, particularly now in the climate, just because things have taken a shift to where we haven't seen things been before, that doesn't mean that we can't live through it.
Mm-hmm. We've lived through so much already.
We lived through so much already. And so I think the story that we should be telling right now is the fact that we gonna be all right.
I know that's right.
Hello. You know what I mean? We gonna be all right. I think that's the story we should tell, and that all hope is not lost. And that if you just keep doing your part. And I think also though, Braxton, I think that we should be really trying to build our own community back up. Like as far as like, if you know a vendor that can offer you the same thing that Harris Teeter can get you, or you know some farmer, you need to share it. You need to let somebody know, because I can go over here to my guy, Al or whoever, you know, is the farmer over here. He got produce. Why not go shop with him? You know what I mean? You go Harris Teeter, you go to Publix and stuff like that.
Right.
Or like, you know, if you need a birthday cake or something like that.
Yeah, we know some people who are baking it up.
Yeah.
Black bakers.
You feel me? Like
we got to put each other on.
We have to put each other on, because a lot of times we talk down on Black business owners.
Yes.
Oh, their price is too high. They don't need to be charging with this. And the problem is,
but we'll go pay somebody else to do it.
We pay somebody else more. And we approach our Black brothers and sisters with the idea that I'm already gonna get a discount. And that's the first wrong move.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because I know that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, struggle with. Is like, you know, it's already a struggle to get to a point where your price is your price, and that you land on the fact that your price is your price, because for so long we've been told that, you know, we're too much or we're not enough or whatever the case may be. So the fact of even stepping out and starting an entrepreneur endeavor and charging a price and standing on that price is hard enough.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have friends or people who you might just know that kind of approach your business with the idea that it's too expensive. They're not willing to pay the price, or that they deserve some type of discount. And I'm not sure that happens all the time in other communities. You know, when I go and get my nails done, or when I go and, you know, really do anything, when I go and buy stuff from a restaurant or go buy clothes from wherever, I'm not necessarily getting a discount for that. Right. And I'm willing to pay that price. But for some reason in our community, we struggle with that a little bit.
Why is that though? Why do you think it is? Like, I'm curious.
I don't know. I genuinely do not know. I don't have the answer to that, but I do feel like we have to support each other. And we have to be willing to support each other from where we are. And I think also understanding the plight that we all face. Yeah. I don't know if there's necessarily like a great understanding or realization of how much is went in. So like sometimes people will be like, Black owned businesses have to charge higher. Well, like we have less resources.
That's true.
So sometimes it does have to be a little bit more expensive to meet the bottom line.
That's true.
But we have to understand that as a people, like we've come a long way. These prices aren't just these prices for no reason.
Right.
You know, there's a purpose behind it.
Right.
And we need each other to be able to move forward. We have to be able to support each other and lean on each other and understand, like, I might have to pay an extra $1 or $2 here, but this is progressing the community forward.
Right. I mean, a lot of small business owners right now, because again, the bank that I work at right now, we're literally for small businesses, specifically like right now, geographically, you know, in, you know, areas that are not as affluent.
Yeah, like low income, low access.
Right. You know what I mean? And so we support those. And for small bunness owners, it's no easy feat. You know what I mean? Small businesses are the backbone of the economy. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. You know, like 99% of all businesses in America is like small business, quoted small business. You talk about, you know, corporations and stuff like that.
Right.
However, I think that's multi-sided because you want to have a good business plan as well. I'm working on mine right now, so I don't have mine right now. I'm figuring it out. But what I am also figuring out is that, like, sometimes people just spit out a price and they don't really even, what's the market value? What's the market price?
Yeah.
What are your competitors charging? Because if Walmart is charging $5, understanding that we don't have the resource that Walmart does to produce
it. Might be able to put it at a $5 price, but it can't be $20.
But it can't be $20. You feel me? Like, come on now, because now then you'll lose business that way if you shoot too far. But if you need a little bit more off the top, definitely stand on your price. But I think it's important to know like the business side of stuff as well. And so that's like where I'm at right now. You know, being competitive, you know, while still standing on, you know, like your business structure, you know what I mean? And so, my bishop had told me this too. He was like, you don't need to do entrepreneurship the like rigged way. You know what I mean? Like, get you a business bank account.
Yeah.
Track your expenses. Make sure you not mixing your personal and
with
your business expenses.
Account.
You know,
do it on the up and up.
Do it on the up and up. You feel me? And like write your taxes off. You feel me? Get your expenses.
Okay.
Y'all better write. Y'all better get y'all.
Finished doing that.
Look, quit playing, because I'm telling you, I took a good tax break this year. I'm telling you, man. But I think it plays in that one bucket though. So I think I kind of got off track a little bit.
No, that's good. No, and I was gonna ask you, like, for the entrepreneurs or the future entrepreneurs that are watching, what advice would you have for them, kind of in that space of, you know, knowing your value, but also, you know, being able to support others. So kind of knowing your value, standing on your value, but then also, I think for maybe like some of the consumers, the support aspect.
So to the entrepreneur, as far as it comes to knowing your value, you that's the first thing you got to understand, you know, because you will lowball yourself. I had one of my friends at Dr. Pepper tell me this. He said, Josiah, the reason you're making what you're making right now is because you allow it. At your job, on your entrepreneurial route, you allow that to happen. You accepted it. You know what I mean? So I would say the knowing your value piece is very important. And honestly, y'all, I'm not going to beat nobody over the head right now if you don't know it. Because it's okay if you don't know it right now. Yeah. But work toward it. When you see people are investing in your business and they come to you as a resource, you got to know that people don't just come to people who ain't got nothing valuable.
There's something about you that's valuable.
There's something about you. And so you have to start trusting in not only just if the business is coming, that means you're valuable. Don't kind of like equate the two, but you got to know, like, if people are requesting, even when people aren't requesting, but when you start seeing that demand go up, I'm telling you, like, you got to know, like, okay, people are, you know, they see something in me.
Right.
And so like knowing your value is a ever going, like, it's not, you're not going to probably wake up tomorrow and just know your value.
Right.
You feel me? Like, it's okay to be finding that. And it's okay to not know exactly what you want to do right now.
Yeah. And I would say sometimes different experiences allow you to understand a little bit more about your value.
Exactly.
Because I would say, like, even kind of in the space of content creating and doing some influencing work, it was like, or even, let's even take the example of like public speaking. Because I've done a lot of that in college and had the opportunity to be monetized for that post college.
Yeah.
And, you know, you might start off something here and it's like, oh, okay, well, they're paying me $100 for this. Cool. But then it's not until you go to the next person. It's like, oh, they'll pay you $500. They'll pay you $1,000.
Yes.
They'll pay you $2,000. It's like,
yes.
Okay, wow. And you start to think, I really paid somebody $1,000. And I know, or somebody paid me $100 to speak for all this time. But sometimes you just don't know until you've had the experience. And so one thing that I've learned is that experiences have taught me to up my price a little bit.
Yeah.
And to know my own worth.
Yes. I'm telling you, like, even I'm thinking that, you know, I'm making good money doing some of the side stuff I'm doing. And like one of my friends, my guys that work in corporate, he said, Josiah, he said, listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. You think you making money. He said, you think you are. And he said, you doing, you know, you starting off, you doing good. He said, but you haven't even scratched the surface. You don't understand what you have and what people will pay for that. You know what I mean?
And sometimes it's talking to other people.
Exactly.
And we as a community have to share those resources because somebody could literally be, it's kind of like working at the same job with somebody and somebody the same job as you. And you find out like later they've been making thousands of dollars more than you.
I'm telling you.
And that happens to us a lot.
Yes.
So it's like, one, negotiating for yourself, asking like, well, what is the range for this project?
Yeah.
Because are you putting me at the far bottom of it?
Right.
Am I at least starting off midpoint? Like, you have some space to elevate, or are you just kind of starting me at the bottom?
Right.
You know?
Right. No, absolutely. And I will add to that, like when I was doing this pitch one time with my guy, Ahmad Goins, he's acted as a production manager for me up until, you know, like still now today. And the way that he kind of pitches stuff that he's always telling me, he's like, listen, he said, like, whenever you're doing a pitch, you'll tell them you got your prices right. And you never let your floor, when you're pitching, it's a gym, you never let your floor ever be your floor, for real. Like internally, you know what you'll take.
Yeah.
So if you know that the lowest you will go in your mind and say, okay, I wouldn't do this project no less than $3,000. Your floor, whenever you pitch, need to be like 5 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then your highest will be like probably like on the 8 or whatever.
And if they come down, it's not your floor.
Right. It's not your floor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like you just gotta know, because I noticed that sometimes, like, of course you know how this goes. You know, you start high and then they negotiate you down and stuff like that. But I would say like you go in off saying, okay, like, now if I charge $8,000 for this, I'm gonna pitch it to them in a way where I'm like, okay, this is what you'll get for this amount of money. But if you go lower, some stuff start getting knocked off.
Yeah, I'm not doing the same work.
I'm not doing the same work. You're
right.
not gonna get the same end product. So it really means how much value do you view in this project that you have? You know what I mean? So yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't get to stay the same. When we negotiate, and as long as you're taking the money down, there's some things that are coming out as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great point. So we're going to talk a little bit about our last section, and that's the future of Black political and social influence. Ooh. So what role do creatives and cultural influencers like yourself and HBCU leaders play in civic engagement? So especially when traditional activism isn't always the avenue. So I know, we come from, our HBCUs taught us about, we've seen the Greensboro Four, and we've seen the students in the Atlanta student movement, and we saw the students down at TSU and FIST doing all those things back in the 60s. But like, activism looks different for us now.
Yes.
Right. So what role do, creatives, like I said, influencers, HBCU leaders kind of play in this new era of activism?
I think back in the day, they were using what they had to amplify their voice. You know what I mean? Same thing. Almost, it's not the same thing, but our platform is just different. The way we speak about it is different. And so since we have, primarily, of course, our social media,
right? You know
what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean that you have to always be, pumping your fist in the air and stuff like that. I'm black. If it ain't black, it ain't, it's not what I'm, necessarily speaking about. But it can be stuff like, if you have a platform, a simple thing like if you have a platform, those people follow you for a reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you have engagement, they engage for a reason. Leverage that and use that for a simple share, a simple story post. I think that social media is so beautiful now is because you can do so much in that space without even leaving your home.
Right.
You know what I mean? Without even going out. Like, you can if protesting is our thing, then okay, I'm all for it. Let's protest. You know what I mean?
But everybody might not be a protester.
Everybody might not be a protester. So whatever your strong suit is, I would say like this across the board, you can use your strong suit to amplify your voice. And you don't even know who's listening to you.
No.
You don't know who's watching you, because some people scroll, they look at your whole video and they won't even like it. You know what I mean? That don't mean they ain't listen.
Right.
That didn't mean they didn't hear what you had to say.
Right. And that engagement's still up.
You know what I mean? Exactly. And think about this, y'all. People be like, oh, they only got 2,000 views. What do you mean you only got 2,000 views?
Hello.
That's 2,000 people who just heard what you said. Even if they didn't listen to it all the way through, they heard, the sum of what you said, or some people did listen to it all the way through. A lot of times I think if we're not hitting and sometimes this is my problem too, if I wasn't hitting the 50K or somebody wasn't, if I didn't get a certain amount of likes and stuff like that, it just, dang, this wasn't valuable. Social media era, that obviously means okay, the algorithm, you didn't, hit it like you should have. That doesn't mean the content isn't necessarily valuable. What you said wasn't. So
right.
I would just say keep using what you do have. You may not have it all, but use what you got. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Use your resources. So if you had one message for Black voters, young Black leaders, post 2024, what would it be?
That you obviously see what happens when you stand for nothing. A lot of people around me was just like, hey, I'm not voting. I don't agree with Kamala. I don't agree with Trump. And
You're still making a decision.
You're still making a decision. And it's just like the amount of, and it still gets me today. Like, how could, whenever you don't use what you have, and a lot of people are just like, oh, well, it don't matter anyway, electoral college. But I mean, what do you mean? Like you contribute to that. Like you contribute to the electoral college. Like, you feel me? So like, if your state ain't win, then you know what I'm talking about. You played a role in that. Yeah. So yeah, the electoral college is here, but you make up that stuff. And so I'm like, y'all, like, if I had one message to say to Black voters, Black leaders, I would say, like, specifically to people who didn't vote because, you know, they either thought Kamala was going to win off rip, or they just didn't stand for anything. Man, like, you really got to assess and ask yourself, like, what's important to me for real right now? Because a lot of stuff is at stake, you know. The next go around, you gotta stand for something, man. You gotta stand for something. I understand that sometimes it's hard to pick a side and you don't necessarily agree with every single thing that either party is doing.
But that's not life. You have to make a choice.
There is a lesser of two evils.
There always is.
There's always a middle ground. You know what I mean? It's always gonna be compromised.
Yeah.
Because you can't have it all your way. You know what I mean?
Have it all your way.
And
but
so
you have to make a choice.
You gotta make a choice. You gotta make a choice. And not making a choice is making the wrong choice.
I know, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's just conceding.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I would just say, like, you obviously see what happens when, you know, we aren't knowledgeable on what legislation and, you know, it's just crazy.
Yeah, our role in the political process.
For
sure. So, Josiah, to kind of just wrap us up, this has been so amazing. I have a signature question for you. Okay. So, Black Emotion is all about staying in motion and just making power moves for the culture.
Yeah.
So, what's one way that you just keep it pushing and stay in motion, whether it's in your hustle or just in your everyday life?
You just show up.
Show up.
You show up. And it sounds simple, but y'all, like you mentioned, when people see, I'm looking at you right now. I don't know what your morning looked like, but you're here.
I'm here.
You showed up. You don't know what my morning looked like. I don't know what your week looked like. I don't know what the first half of your life was.
And we had a week.
Right. But you showed up. Now, the only difference between someone who isn't where they want to be and someone who is because they kept showing up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And when I say that, I'm not saying like, oh, you're the only reason why you're not where you want to be. I'm not one of the Forex people, right? So look, I'm not one of Forex though. I'm saying if you continue to show up, you will get to that place. You know, you just show up no matter what. And you may show up with your hair all over your face or over your head, or you may show up, you know, maybe one day you ain't ironing like you needed to iron and stuff, but you still there. Your presence holds weight.
Right.
And you making a decision to keep showing up, man. Listen, it's gonna be hard sometimes, but you just have to show up. And consistency is not always 100% every single day.
Yep.
Sometimes it's 1%, and that's all you got to give. But give what you got.
Give what you got every day.
Every day, give what you got, man. For real.
Showing up. Y'all heard it.
Show up,
y'all heard it here first. Showing up. But Josiah, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
this is absolutely amazing. Tell the people where they can find you. Where can they connect?
All right, y'all. So if you're on Instagram, you can find me at Josiah Russell Music. Make sure you hit that follow button. And if you want me to follow you back, please send me a simple DM. I sure will. I'm not one of them people that's, you know, like just, I've had people be like, oh, you ain't following me back. I'm just like, just let me know, bro. Like, I got you. Facebook, Josiah Russell. And those are really, TikTok, Josiah Russell Music as well. Yeah. So definitely follow me on those, connect with me. I am kind of like rebranding a teeny bit, just taking a little pivot. So I got some great stuff coming, and I'm so excited to add and build a community, build an environment, an online digital environment. And so I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you. This was absolutely amazing. We can't wait. We're going to have you back.
Listen, you gonna have me back.
Yeah.
She gonna get too big, y'all. And then she gonna be like, oh, no, Josiah, I don't know who you is for real.
Please. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Black Emotion Podcast, and we'll see you next time.